all, it's Zahava. Welcome back to the channel. It's going to be a short video today because I got a new mic and I wanted to test it out and see how it would go recording, sticking the mic on my chest over here and the other piece of the mic into my phone, because I'm trying to see if I can record and have a decent audio sound and a more discreet way of filming in public, except that I didn't have the mic with me and I just want to try it out for the sound. So I don't know if you guys are going to hear the sound well with this video, but I'm going to try and do the best that I can. And in the interim, I just want to show you some books that I picked up today, because it's just been like a regular Saturday and I went to the Hudson Library sale again, and then I stopped by the independent bookstore and I got like a little mini book haul, which is this right here. So here's the thumbnail. There it is. Yeah, so let's just tell you what I got and how much I paid for it. So I was at the Hudson Library sale. I did go to Penny Pets, and Penny Pets did not have, they were actually having one of their fundraising sales again today, but they didn't have anything that I was interested in, so I didn't end up getting anything there. But I went to the library sale, and the library sale had 2 books from my Amazon wish list, which I was really happy to find. So I was able to take those off my Amazon wish list because I found them for like $20 off what Amazon was asking. They were trade paperbacks. I paid $2 each. So the first one is John Marr's The One. So this, I think, was suggested to me by Fina of Fina Reads. It is an author that I'm unfamiliar with, but this is a sci-fi. I think John Marrs also writes a mystery thriller, if I'm not mistaken, but this one here is a sci-fi. And I like the premise of this one, which I believe has to do with finding your match through a drop of blood, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really know much more about it than that, but it did sound intriguing to me and was on my Amazon wish list. So when I recognized it in the row of books that was at the library sale, I said, for $2, this is great. The cover price on this one would have been $19.99 Canadian, but bizarrely, I believe it was $22 or $23 on Amazon. So I don't know how that was happening, but that's what was happening. The next book that I got at the Hudson Library sale, I was super excited to find, and it is The Lost City of Zed by David Grann. And this one is a nonfiction novel, and it's by the same author that wrote The Wager. So if you guys remember the tale of shipwreck off the coast of Patagonia, that was one of my better reads between January and June of this year. This is another book by the same author. He's also written Killers of the Flower Moon, which I own but haven't read yet. I tried to take this book out of the library a couple of months ago, 2-3 months ago, and I never ended up reading it, and I had to return it just because, I don't know, either I lost interest or I ran out of time, and there were sort of other things on my roster, but I was able to pick this one up for $2 at the library sale, which was great because now it can sit on my shelf and wait until I am ready to read it. So this one would have cost, again, the cover price is $19.95, but I feel like Amazon had it for $23 or $24. So maybe these were older copies and the prices have gone up. I don't know. Anyhow, that's what I paid, $2 for this one. And then it wasn't on my Amazon wish list, but I have read another book by the same author, and it was on my radar as a to be read one day eventually in the future if I could get it at the right price. And that actually happened today, which was great. So this is The Mothers by Britt Bennett, who is the author of The Vanishing Half, which you guys know that I absolutely adored. It was a 5-star read for me this year. Yeah, this one, I'm not really sure what this novel is about, but I did enjoy Bennett's writing when I read The Vanishing Half, so I think I'm probably very likely going to like this one as well. The cover price on this was $22 Canadian, and again, I just paid $2 for it. Then I went to Librairie Clio, and Librairie Clio, I was able to find 4 books in the 2 for $10 section, and 1 book which was 35% off that had been on my radar also. And that is The Honey Witch. Have you guys heard people talking about The Honey Witch? So this, I believe, has to do with a girl who is called to take over custodianship, I guess, of a house, or it's an inheritance. In any case, the generations of her family are caretaking this house. And basically the cost of living in the house is that you can't fall in love or something along those lines. And I had heard about this. I'm unfamiliar with Sydney Shields. Never read anything by this author before, but essentially, I'll read you what it says on the back if you haven't heard about it. I don't know if it's a cozy, it might be, I don't know, but I know it's a fantasy for sure. So it's, so yeah, it says the honey witch is cursed to never find true love, but when she meets a young woman who doesn't believe in magic, she dares to hope for more. So is this queer? Probably. Sounds that way. Marigold Claude has always preferred the company of meadow spirits to the suitors who tried to woo her. So when her grandmother whisks her away to the tiny isle of Innisfree with an offer to train her as the next honey witch, she accepts immediately. But her newfound magic and independence come with a price. No one can fall in love with the honey witch. Then Lottie Burke, a notoriously grumpy skeptic, shows up on her doorstep, and Marigold can't resist the challenge to prove to her that magic is real, even at the risk of losing her home and her heart. So it says, a sweet feast brimming with whimsy, magic, and tender longing, and that is by Rachel Gillig, who I think wrote the One Dark Window, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's who the author is. Anyway, I have a copy of One Dark Window. I haven't read it yet, but The Honey Witch, it's just got like such a beautiful cover. It looks really pretty. So the cover price on this one was $24.99 Canadian, and I got this at 35% off, so it cost about $16, which for a brand new book I think is fantastic. And then in the 2 for $10 section that you guys have heard me talk about before, I'm really, really excited. So I got 2 books that were, one that was on my Amazon wish list, one that was in my cart at Book Outlet, which actually ended up being cheaper buying at the independent bookstore because it just like worked out that way. So I could take it out of my Book Outlet cart. And then there were 2 others that one looked interesting and the other one I'd heard about the author. And it's a read with Jenna Pick, but I've never read anything by that author. So the first one that I picked up is The Black Feathers. And this is the one that was sitting in my Book Outlet cart. And I think it was like $10 and change or something for this one. But it ended up being $5 for me because it was in the 2 for $10 at the independent bookstore. So this one here is, I don't know, they don't really give like a good synopsis. It's got really big print though. So like I'm wondering if it's not a YA pick. Like if I made a mistake and picked up a YA. But it says, when Annie marries widower Edward Stonehouse and arrives at Guardbridge, his windswept estate on the Yorkshire moors, she thinks she's finally put the darkness of her past behind her. She's mistaken. Edward's sister Iris still lives in the family home. A taxidermist and medium, she urges Annie to watch out for black feathers, claiming they mark the spot where a restless spirit has walked. At first, Annie dismisses her warnings and the black feathers she finds in the house. But one night, she cannot ignore 2 horrifying words drawn on the mirror in her bedroom. See me. What exactly happened to Edward's first wife and young son? Why is his sister so disturbed? And what does this ghostly visitor want with Annie? So it does sound like pretty cool. I was intrigued enough anyway, having done my research about this title on Goodreads, to put it in my Book Outlet cart, obviously. But then I remembered, oh yeah, I think I saw this in the 2 for $10 shelf at Librairie Clio. So I went back to the independent bookstore and it was still there waiting for me. So this is fantastic. The second book that I got in that 2 for $10 pairing is The Amalfi Curse. And this had been on my, I think this one is a new release, like it maybe came out earlier this year or maybe late last year. I'm not exactly sure, but I know that the paperback version of this was on my Amazon wish list, and that was only scheduled to come out in August of 2026. So the current running price for this book in Canada is $33, and I paid just five for this. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it's in really great shape. The only thing is they kind of bar out, I guess, because it went on sale. I don't know why, but yeah. I mean, the price for this on Amazon was $33, but the inside cover price, I don't know if that'll come into focus for you guys, is like $37 in Canada and $30 in the US. So it's quite a big difference, but yeah, I don't have to wait until next year, first of all, or for a library loan. And again, $5, how could I go wrong? The last 2 books that I read are kind of, I guess, cover buys if you want. Well, yes and no. Okay. So this one was kind of a cover buy. I've never heard of this one. I've never heard anybody talking about it. I don't know if it's a new release, if it's an older book. I have no idea anything about this one. So if you've heard about it, discuss it with me in the comments, please. It's called The Library of Lost Dollhouses. And I don't know, like I said, it was a bit of a cover buy. So I'll read you what it's about in case you don't know. So it says, when a young librarian discovers historic dollhouses in a hidden room, she embarks on an unexpected journey that reveals surprising secrets about the lost miniatures. Tildy Barrows, head curator of a beautiful archival library in San Francisco, is meticulously dedicated to the centuries worth of inventory housed in her beloved Beaux-Arts buildings. She loves the calm and order in the shelves of books and walls of art. But Tildy's uneventful life takes an unexpected turn when first she learns the library is on the verge of bankruptcy, and second, she discovers 2 exquisite, never-before-seen dollhouses. After finding clues hidden within these remarkable miniatures, Tildy sets out to decipher the secret history of the dollhouses, aiming to salvage her cherished library in the process. Her journey to understand introduces her to a world of ambitious and gifted women in Belle Epoque Paris, a group of scarred World War I veterans in the English countryside, and Walt Disney's bustling studio in 1950s Burbank. As Tildy unravels the mystery, she finds not only inspiring overlooked history, but also a future for herself filled with exciting possibilities and an astonishing familial revelation. Spanning the course of a century, The Library of Lost Dollhouses is a warm, bright, and captivating story of secrets and love that embrace the importance of illuminating overlooked women of the past. So, again, this one for me cost only $5, and it sounds like it could be a really nice sort of escape. Sounds like it could be a really good story. I'm not going to lie. I'm loving that. So again, this was the same price, the cover price being $30 US or 37 Canadian dollars, costing me only $5. Nothing wrong with the dust jacket, brand new condition, could not go wrong. So that was my cover buy. And then, because I needed a second book to sort of go with it, I picked up The Mighty Red by Louise Erdrich. I've never read anything by this author before. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name, but I know that Mara of Books Like Whoa has actually picked up some of her books before and talked about this author on her channel before. And it is also a read with Jenna. So I don't know. I haven't done any research about this because I was not responsible. I really just wanted to test out my mic before I went and did some research about this book. I don't know if it's a standalone or part of a series. So I may have picked up a book that was part of a series, and I really didn't look it up while I was in the bookstore either, which probably wasn't the most responsible thing to do, but I'm pretty sure it's a standalone. I suppose I could look it up now.
12 seconds later.
Yeah, so this does seem to be a standalone historical fiction. It was released in October of 2024, and I will tell you what it's about. So it says, in the Red River Valley of North Dakota, several lives revolve around a wedding fraught with desire, jealousy, and uncertainty. Gary Geist, a terrified young man set to inherit 2 farms, is desperate to marry Kismet Poe, an impulsive lapsed goth who can't read her own future but will settle for fulfilling his. Her best friend Hugo, a gentle red-haired homeschooled giant, also loves Kismet and is determined to steal her away and build a life together. Kismet's mother, Crystal, drives a truck for Gary's family, and on her nightly runs, tunes into the darkness of late-night radio, experiences visions of guardian angels, and worries about what's to come for her daughter and herself. The Mighty Red is Louise Erdrich at her consummate best, a novel of tender humor, disquietude, yearning, community, and family. It's about ordinary people who dream, grow up, fall in love, struggle, endure tragedy, carry bitter secrets, men and women both complicated and contradictory, flawed and decent, lonely and hopeful. Human time, deep time, Red River time, and geological time are explored alongside the impact of crises in our own time, climate change, the depletion of natural resources, the economic meltdown of 2008. As with every book this great modern master writes, The Mighty Red is about our tattered bond with the earth and about love in all of its absurdity and splendor. So it's not a book I would normally pick up. It really isn't. But because I had heard of this author through BookTube and because it was a read with Jenna pick, I'm feeling like it could be an emotional time. And you know how sometimes you're just looking for that emotional time? Maybe this one is going to give it. So I'm hoping so. Anyway, that is it for the mini little book haul. I know I said that I wasn't going to do another one until sometime later this year. So I'm not going to talk to you guys about the book outlet order that I put away without showing you or the ones that are forthcoming because it's starting to get a little bit embarrassing at this point, honestly. But the thing is, I don't really have anyone else to share my excitement with. So I'm hoping that you guys will be excited too. And I'm really hoping that this new mic is, doing the job and that the sound is not going to be complete crap, by the time you guys see this video and when I edit this video. So anyway, thank you guys all for coming to hang out with me today. And I love you so much. Please leave me a little book emoji in the comments if you just want to let me know that you're here. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to hang out some more. And I will see you again in the next video. Ciao for now.